All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome to Becca's World, and this is the Blind View here on Rumble. And here is your host, Becca.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me today. I am Rebecca S. Meadows. You can email me and us directly at beccameadows76@gmail.com. And Brandon is with me, and Anya will be joining us in a few minutes, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. How are you, Brandon?
Hey, what's up, Rebecca S. Meadows? It's good to be with you here on Cyber Monday evening on another episode of The Blind View. I myself am blind, so I appreciate you having actual blind people on The Blind View. So, yeah, doing well. How are you doing? How has your day been?
Oh, I'm great. Speaking of blind people and how awesome we are, you know who Elton John is, right?
Oh, of course.
Well, I was watching the news today and they played a clip of an interview they did with Elton talking about his recent vision loss. And I had no idea that Elton John is dealing with vision loss. I mean, what he said on the interview that I saw was that in July, this last July, just a few months ago, he got an infection in his right eye that resulted
Uh
in him
huh.
losing his vision in his right eye. And normally that would be okay. Most people would be like, well, you still have the vision in your left eye. But the thing is, he's right after he said that he lost the vision in his right eye in July, he added, and the vision in my left eye was already bad. So that means he's really struggling right now, I think. Like he's pretty much almost totally blind, you know.
Yeah.
But he's one of my favorite singers. What do you I mean, do you have any thoughts or comments on this, Brandon?
Well, definitely. Well, so, in 2024, we've lost a number of recording artists, and not that we've lost Elton John, but I'm just saying it's been a pretty roller coaster year, I think. And yeah, Elton John, uh, being a fortunately a living legend. Yeah, I mean, this isn't good, and uh, we hear about it's common nowadays to hear about the overuse of prescription antibiotics and things, and
Right.
antibiotics are used to treat infections, and I get it. I mean, I think they have their place, but the one thing I can say though is that Elton John is not only a remarkable singer but also a consummately accomplished piano player, and fortunately, singing and piano playing don't require sight. But that's not to say that I would wish the loss of any
Alexa,
sense.
stop.
That's not to
Yeah,
say that I would wish the loss of any sense on anybody.
yeah,
But
and
that
honestly,
being said, I don't think it has to be like career ending or anything.
oh, I know, and honestly, him losing his vision might make him that much better of a singer or songwriter, right? Because once he's able to see with his ears more, and his heart more, once his vision's gone, and you know, like as you and I know, when you're blind, you see with your ears more and you see with your heart more than your vision. And in a way, it might actually help Elton John change his focus a little bit, and it might change his songwriting like amazingly. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think.
Well, it might. I mean, I just hope. I just hope that he doesn't become like a hypercritical producer or something.
Oh
because
yeah.
because you're right. I mean, as a blind person, and probably you've talked about this before, so we don't have to delve deeply into this, but I wouldn't say that I have better hearing than someone else, but literally the neurons in my brain probably do process sound different than they would in the brain of a sighted person. So I'm much more aware of it. I'm much more
Right.
aware of what I hear. Um,
Yeah.
and,
And
and but I
and
mean, in the music industry, I agree with you. I think that could be a good thing.
yeah, so who knows, maybe this will enable Elton John to come out with some really great music in the coming months and years. But I found that an interesting thing, when I heard about it on the news today. I was like, huh, because I've always loved Elton John singing, um, and so yeah, I thought about what it was like going blind myself, and about my other blind friends, and how all this stuff I've learned about myself as a blind person since I, joined the NFB back in 2014, and really got involved and met a lot of awesome blind people, and learned a lot about what's the tools that are available to us, and what we can really do once we have the, training that's available.
Well, and what I think would be really interesting for me is to see how well really, I guess, your whole life, but more specifically your perception of life changes if you continue to get greater and greater visual acuity, because I think that your circumstances, Becca, are really unique. Normally we hear about it going one way, right? We learn about people that have had sight, and then for whatever reason or reasons they lose. Yeah, but then it typically doesn't return.
Right.
But for you it is, and so I wonder if you'll retain like your detailed hearing and your detailed sense of touch. And
honestly, I don't know. I really hope I do, but honestly, I think even if I get 20/20 vision back, and I'm able to drive and read a book and read a computer screen and do all the stuff I hope I'll ultimately be able to do, stuff that I've never really done before other than the reading the book part, even if I do that, I really feel like I would be robbing myself severely if I didn't, on a regular basis, put a blindfold on, like a sleep shade, and spend a few days. You know what I mean? Because I mean, after being blind for, my gosh, what has it been, like 36 years? Almost, like, I feel like if I get my vision back, and then I let my blind skills lapse out of laziness just because I'm not blind anymore, I really feel like I would be robbing myself and doing myself a disservice because of all the years my body worked to get those amazing blind skills. Blind skills, like, I really feel my blind skills as amazing tools, right? Like, it's like a sighted person learning to ride a bike, right? It's a big thing for a part of growing up. Well, a part of me growing up as a blind person was learning my blindness skills, and learning to use a cane finally, and learning some braille and stuff.
Oh.
And so
well,
that's
I
the way I
got
look at
you.
it.
I appreciate that you have such a generous and a thoughtful and an appreciative perspective and paradigm. I mean, I just don't know. And it's interesting because it's like I tell my kids, I do train with them in the darkest environments I can possibly create. So sometimes, essentially pitch black, or very nearly, as close to like Vanta black as I can get it. Well, I usually don't do that, but I mean, I have before for sure. And what I've told them is, listen, I'm not trying to say that you have to learn to use a cane and all that, but I said, I just think if you're aware of your other senses, it'll just make you a more balanced and integrated person.
Oh, it'll actually make them a stronger, more capable person, I bet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but
hey
I
guys,
just don't
I'm back
know.
in.
Oh, hi, Anya.
Hey, Anya.
Hi, I've been
Good
here for a minute.
evening.
I was hi. I was here for the last few minutes. I just was looking for an opportunity to jump in. So sounds like you guys having a very lively discussion.
Okay, how are you then, Anya? Did you hear us talking about
I'm
Elton
doing good.
John?
We were just having some difficulties.
Did you hear about us talking about
As
Elton John going blind?
Yeah, just a little bit. For the last couple of minutes, I got in, so you guys were talking about how
Yeah.
he could, you know, going blind. It could make you a stronger person because
Yeah.
you learn skills
Well,
to cope,
uh,
which is interesting perspective.
yeah. Well, the start of the conversation that you missed was I watched an interview with Elton John on the news today in which he talked about how this last July he developed an infection in his right eye that caused him to go blind in his right eye. And then after he said that, he added, and the vision in my left eye is already pretty bad. And so
Oh,
he's he's totally blind in one eye and sounds like legally blind in the other eye, and this is new for him, dealing with this. And Elton John is a famous singer. Brandon, what were you laughing about?
Oh, just I can appreciate that sort of dark humor, I don't know. I can appreciate that. It's like, well, got an infection in this eye, and oh, by the way, my other eye's not very good either. So it's just, I mean, it's not good, but I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
I've
It's
heard that exact story from so many blind people I've met over the years. People who've said, I was already blind in my left eye, and then I got an infection in my right eye, went blind in that eye too. Usually that's what I hear from people a lot. So,
well, and I mean, Elton John is very, very wealthy, and I think that's a good thing because he can afford really, really great surgeons and therapeutic approaches and things. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they think this is going to be permanent or progressive. I haven't heard that aspect.
well, yeah, and I would like to make some suggestions to Elton John if he ever sees our show here, this episode. Like, I would recommend that he go learn how to use a white cane, that he go learn how to use non-visual skills like Braille and stuff like that, because it never hurts. And and that he go to one of these NFB blind immersion training centers for a while, because I think it could only help him. And
Oh, I do too, but
imagine
I
if
think
he
it's
goes.
easy.
what were you saying,
Sorry, go
Brandon?
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. I just imagined if he goes to one of the NFB centers, star of his size, like
He'll win the
he's gonna
talent
make
shows.
the center super famous. I know. But I hope it doesn't get to it. I mean, I hope he has some way to cure, to fix
Well,
whatever vision he has.
he has enough money, he can afford to do the stem cell therapy stuff like what I've been doing. He could afford a lot more than I can. So, um, but the thing is, I have you guys been blind your whole life? I don't remember.
I have, yeah.
Oh, no, I went blind when I was about 3, so I have very
Okay.
vague memories of
Yeah.
sight. Yeah,
I remember I went blind when I was 12, and then as a young adult, when I was a teenager, and then as in my 20s and stuff, it was really hard finding accurate and dependable information about resources for a blind person and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And a big
sure.
part of that was because I was growing up in Montana. Montana's called the flyover zone for a reason. There's not a lot there. But um another thing is like the doctors that my parents were taking me to, none of them were stepping forward and giving my parents good information. And the school wasn't bothering to give my parents good information. And those were the only two resources that in in the area where I was living who really had access to any kind of information at all. So,
That's interesting. You mentioned doctors, and in my experience, what I hear from other people, and it's not only in America, it seems to be everywhere. The doctors appear to be quite patronizing. Seems like you were working in
Hmm.
that field. You should know enough about vision, but I guess they just know from a medical viewpoint, but they don't really have any faith in blind people and in their abilities and stuff
Um,
like that. So
yeah,
oftentimes
doctors are
dismissive.
dumb. Yeah, it's been my experience, especially when it comes to the brain. Like I have cognate. What is it called? Trying to remember I have a certain kind of blindness, right? Which means the optic nerve is what was damaged and not the eyeballs themselves. And
Hmm.
because it's my optic nerve that was damaged, I've literally seen pretty much since I left the hospital, right? That first fall, I remember I was seeing a lot. But I've always seen really crooked and seen double vision and all this stuff, right? And I was never able to really put it into words until recently because my vision was so muddled up.
Okay.
So I dealt with doctors, especially the first 8 years when I was still a teenager, who were idiots, and they just kept telling me there's no hope. And and my parents translated that to mean there's no hope in restoring her vision. There's no hope in her recovering. There's no hope in anything. And that was those same words were then passed on to my educators at school, who decided to just basically stick me in a corner, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and I was
I'm
actually
afraid
going
to.
to mention that. Yeah, I think that many industries do have a very, what we call a very vision centric model.
Right. Yeah. And so when you are seeing, but you're seeing crooked, and like I when I was in high school, I used to think of my vision as being like a kaleidoscope. You know, I don't know if you've ever either of you have ever been able to see through a kaleidoscope, but some of our viewers may have. And so when you look through a kaleidoscope, you hold it up to your eye and you look through this little hole, and you want light coming in the other end of the kaleidoscope, because on the other end there's like a a white a white plastic piece, right, that lets light in. And there's all these different colored beads and stuff in there. And so you put the kaleidoscope up to the light and put the other end up to your eye. So you're looking through that little hole. And then you turn it, and those different colored beads, they shift and turn. And with the light going through them, because they're like see-through, I guess, or what, I'm not sure what the right word would be, maybe illuminate, like whatever. um, but but it looks pretty, and the patterns change constantly. And that was like what my vision was like when I was in high school. Like I could kind of see things, but it was like everything was twisted up and like back like my visual field was there, but it was all like a jigsaw puzzle kind of. Like I could see
Hmm.
some things, but only parts of things, and everything was crooked. And but lately here, it's gotten a lot better since I started doing the stem cell therapy. It's just really like my optic nerve is healing itself. So
Yeah, that's great. It makes me think that wouldn't it be even more confusing, like uh, being not completely blind, but seeing things crookedly? Like, I
yeah,
mean, it's
I,
probably even in a ways worse than being totally blind.
it
I would
is,
think.
Anya. You're right. Like my vision's distorted, and I mean I never really thought about that when I was a teenager in the first years after the blindness. I felt like, I don't know. Um, but when I joined the NFB, I learned a lot about my true abilities as a blind woman, right? And I learned not to fear the blindness, and I learned how to use the blindness as more of a strength and a tool. Um, but
Mhm.
it was a process, and you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about because you guys have been blind your whole life, huh? Um,
Almost.
Well, but I actually can though imagine what you're talking about, and so that's why while I am supportive of what both of you ladies have said, as far as if it's determined that uh, Mr. Elton John's condition is ultimately irreversible, that there is indeed value in learning skills from credible organizations, and the National Federation of the Blind happens to be the oldest and largest organization of blind people in the USA. Um,
mhm.
I think there are comparable agencies in Europe as well. Although I'm not as familiar with those, being from the western side of the pond. But yeah, but having said that, and to kind of speak to what you were saying, Becca, I mean, yeah, but it's definitely an adjustment, and it's a major adjustment, because I think about what would it be like to lose another sense, like the sense of smell, like we heard with COVID-19, or what would it be like to lose the sense of touch, or to lose the sense of hearing? I mean, that's that's not good. It's not. So I'm willing to be very patient with people.
Severe hearing loss runs in my biological father's family. I have family members who range from just needing hearing aids to all the way to complete deafness, right? I have cousins and aunts and my grandmother, like cousins, aunts, uncles, my grandmother, lots of family members who have been nearly deaf or are deaf, right? And and so when I went blind when I was 12 years old, I remember my mom saying when I was a teenager, she said, "Oh, I hope you don't lose your hearing too." And that really worried me. And thank God I never have lost my hearing, because I sure value my hearing a lot more since I lost my vision.
I gotcha.
Right, but people say, the majority of people on this planet, they value sight the most, because what is it? 80% of information that enters our brain comes through vision. And that's believe. I mean, especially for us folks who cannot see and who perceive by listening, right? But yeah, it's just strange, for most people, it's the biggest fear to lose sight. Not hearing, no smell, no nothing, but vision. It's so important to people.
Yeah.
Well, it's made out to be and promoted and promulgated as being so critically important, but I do not think it is important. It is as important as it is made out to be. For instance, as a blind person, I can hear in 360 degrees. Sighted people can't see in 360 degrees.
Yeah, that's true.
As a blind person, I pick up on hearing things that sighted people say, "Huh, I never even noticed that."
Yeah.
And so I am not in favor of the visual centric model being as widely and aggressively promoted as it is. Now, there's nothing wrong with, if you've got sensory abilities, to use them. But don't act like I'm some kind of inferior being just because I'm blind. But that often does happen,
Oh, and I have to tell you, I went blind, like I said, when I was 12, and so I've been blind for most of my life, like 3/4 of my life or something. And I have to tell you, I feel like my blind brethren, like I joined the NFB in 2014, and then suddenly I've met all these awesome blind people. And so I just continued meeting more blind people over all these years, going to more conventions and stuff. And I have to tell you, the blind people I meet are so amazing. Like, the stuff that we do, the stuff that we don't even blink, we just go do it, right? Do you know how many sighted people would wet their pants if they put a blindfold on and grabbed a cane and tried to do the stuff we do every day? Like, like and I don't want to sound like a sighted person who's over the top goofy, right? Saying, "Oh, you're so amazing, you could save the world because you're blind." But what I'm saying is we have a lot more guts than a lot of the sighted people out there. You know what I mean? And we have a lot more ability to think on our feet and overcome huge problems. You know what I mean? Because I know I have amazing problem solving skills because of my blindness. And I just feel like as blind people, we just have these skills that our sighted brethren, they can't compete with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, sounds like we're coming up on a break.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us during this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's me, Rebecca S. Meadows, the author. with my new book, Living on Borrowed Time, The Ravings of an Angry Survivor of Traumatic Brain Injury and Guardianship Abuse. It's available on Kindle Digital Download, Amazon Print on Demand, and on Audible. Please go check it out. And now, back to the show.
All right, and we are back.
Thanks for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. Is Brandon still with us? I heard Anya.
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Okay, great, guys. Do you guys have any more to say about Elton John's situation?
Well, I wish him well. I can say that I do wish him well. I hope this, don't let this stop you, Elton. Don't let it stop you.
Yeah, blindness is definitely not the end of the world, and there's a lot of great support out there and a lot of tools and training available. And so let's go ahead and talk about our next topic then. I wanted to talk about President Joe Biden's pardoning of his son Hunter. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, not to say we didn't see that coming. I mean, all it tells us that the Democrats have been lying to us for last 4 years, trying to act like they're the party of rule of law. You know, they're so law abiding and nobody above the law. So what happened? How come nobody nobody above the law, unless you are Hunter Biden? Then things change.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised at all by the fact that he pardoned his son, and just because of all the other shenanigans we've been watching these fools pull the last several years, like this would be like kids play for them after all the other stuff they've done. So
yeah, but you know what? I think it's incredibly hypocritical, though, because I want to point out there are many, many times, including on, I believe, December 1st, Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, said no, no, no. The answer was no, the answer is no, and the answer will always be no, no. And then turns out he hypocritically is doing, and we can go back and find other media sound bites and even actual media excerpts, not a little longer than a sound bite, where all this time we were told, that Joe Biden will abide by the law, will obey the law, will observe the law, and now he's doing it. So I think I can't say that I am shocked, but I think it is very hypocritical.
So, listen, I was not surprised at all, and I agree it's all hypocritical, but the thing that really concerns me about this is, does this mean that Hunter Biden and everything the Biden dynasty, the Biden family, that would be Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, his brother, Joe's brother, what's his name? Tom Biden? Is that his brother's name? Remember, Joe's brother was also fingered in a bunch of the stuff that was going on with Burisma and wasn't it Ukraine, and what I mean, I know that they're saying, oh, Trump's going to get into office and take revenge on his enemies, but I hope he gets into office and takes revenge on America's enemies. The Biden family is America's enemies. After what Joe and Hunter and Joe's brother did for so long to rip the American people off and sell us out, does everybody not remember all the shit that's gone on with this family?
Oh yeah, they are corrupt, deeply corrupt. And you mentioned Ukraine and Burisma. Yeah, so this lady, I can't remember her name right now, who Trump wants to put as Attorney General to nominate her. Anybody remembers her name? I can't remember.
Oh, is it Pam? Pam Bundy? Is that?
Yeah, maybe it's her. Yeah. So apparently, I read somewhere that she was working on that case. She was trying to investigate Burisma Energy Company. Yeah, and then I think her nomination scared the crap out of them, because if she gets nominated, I mean, if she gets confirmed, And she starts looking into it. I'm sure she has lots of dirt on them. So, and they're trying to protect their asses, Biden himself.
Right.
And I think, okay, Biden doesn't know what ice cream flavor to pick. I don't think that, I don't think he wrote that pardon
You
statement.
guys,
I think the whole Democrat leadership is scared, and they made
oh,
Joe do that, even though it's making them look horrible. They still do it because they're just afraid that all their dirt will come out under Trump's DOJ.
oh yeah, I foresee that all of the bad shit that the deep state's been doing to our country for my whole lifetime, and maybe even before that, I just foresee all of this unraveling in the coming months for them once Trump gets into office. And I can't wait. Like America is going to be so strong and so healthy. And we have to be safe. I really hope President Trump can protect our borders and protect us again before we're attacked. Because I'm sure we're going to be attacked shortly into 2024. You guys remember when we were attacked on September 11th, 2001? Like that was just like what, 9 months into uh President Bush's first administration or first um term, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely
And
know.
we
I
were
wasn't even
attacked,
here then.
and I've I mean I've had it explained to me about how people were waiting to attack us when Bush got into office, you know what I mean? Like because of other stuff that had happened previously. And with all the shit that's been going on in our country the last 4 years, all the way they've been making us victims and taking down our defenses and everything, doing everything they can to make us less safe. Like, I'm sure the enemy has been plotting and scheming a way to attack us again, just like they did on September 11th, 2001. So I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm predicting that in the year 2025, America is going to be in grave danger. We could be seriously attacked, similar to the way we were attacked on September 11th. Because look at how unsafe we've been the last 4 years. Look at how our intelligence agency has probably been severely underfunded and undermanaged, and you know what I mean? Our intelligence agency, our Justice Department, you know what I mean? And
I
our
I do,
borders, our
but
borders
take
are
heart
open
though.
again. So,
Yeah, but take heart because the new incoming border czar, Tom Homan,
oh,
pardon my French, but he don't book any bullshit. Okay, like for instance, when he was asked recently, can you think of any way where the children would not have to go back, or the parents would not have to go back by themselves, leaving the other, abandoning the other? And Tom Homan said, "Well, sure there is. We'll deport the whole family together."
yeah,
Yeah, go.
I think that is
Yeah,
phenomenal because I think if you come into this country illegally, you know
yeah,
what you did. You know what
yeah,
you did. And so when we have a America First, leader, commander in chief,
yeah,
you got it. You guys were already told who are here and who were here illegally committing crimes in this country. You were told back in August and September and October, pack your bags. If you didn't do it, that's not my problem. It's not my fault. And it's actually not my concern either.
yeah. But I wanted to add more about the Bidens. So, it goes back, what did he say, 2014, right? From whatever Biden younger did from January of 2014 through what now, correct? So for the last 10 years, not 8 years, not 6 years, not 5 years, but 10 years. And let's put the dots together. What was happening in 2014? Oh, ding ding ding, that's when America was staging the coup to overthrow the president in Ukraine. And that's when the whole Burisma thing was happening. Like, Biden had a lot of dirty dealings in Ukraine, which is why he has picked, or whoever did this for him, picked that particular year to start pardoning his dear crackhead son. So all those federal charges, guns and tax evasions and all that, I think those are just smoke and mirrors. I mean, the real issue is now that there's way more times that they are afraid that would be uncovered.
Oh yeah, and he made the pardon so broad and so sweeping. It's something like from like 2014 to present.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Everything
Yeah.
that his
Uh-huh.
son has done is pardoned, and you got to
Well,
wonder
hold on.
what all that is.
Can either one of you ladies catch me up? Because last I heard he was preparing to pardon him. Has he officially been pardoned?
Yes,
Oh
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
announced.
Hunter
Everybody's
Biden has
happy.
officially been pardoned.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Joe pardoned his son for anything and everything that he's done wrong since 2014.
Right, but
Yeah, including
the pardon order has been, executed. So he has been pardoned.
yeah, he released
Okay.
the statement last night, Sunday night.
Well,
Announced.
You should look it up.
please forgive me. I don't really follow a lot of what Joe Biden says. If I happen to hear it, but I don't tune in to Karine Jean-Pierre broadcasting girl. Yeah, I
And
don't care. I don't care.
anytime Joe Biden, I think anytime Joe Biden manages to get on the news, we should listen to what he has to say, because it's amazing the times he's gotten on the news in the last couple of years. I've been shocked every time I've heard his voice, because of the fact that the Democrats were so desperate to keep him out of the limelight.
Oh, listen. It's not to say that I haven't heard him speak, and what I've heard
Mhm.
is atrocious. I mean, literally, it's atrocious. And regarding Hunter Biden, I mean, guys, even out in super blue California, right, where they don't get, they can go into a store and loot that store for, I believe it's up to $10,000 or $9,999. Well, you know what? In the case of Hunter Biden, what he's done well exceeds $10,000. So I mean, if you and I went and looted a store for $10,000 or $10,001, oh, can you imagine what they do to us? And now look, Hunter gets this kind of treatment.
Yeah, I'm really upset
Yeah.
about the way they're just letting him off the hook.
Well, I mean, it's good in some ways because it gives Trump a lot of precedent to pardon people who he wants to pardon, and Democrats will not have anything to say to that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
But when you look at the magnitude of crimes against all of America that Hunter Biden committed, and the whole Biden family, Joe Biden and Joe's brother, like I said, I think his name is Tom. I don't remember. I haven't heard his name in a while, but I do remember Joe Biden's brother was implicated in it too. And it sounds like Hunter's his late brother's wife has been financially benefiting as well over the decades, and several members of the Biden's family. The last couple of years with all the stuff that's been coming out, I have felt like my country has been robbed and raped and molested by the Biden family. And honestly, the idea of Hunter Biden walking and possibly the whole Biden family getting off in the next administration, it really upsets me. I like the idea of Trump going after America's enemies, not his own. He won't go after his own enemies, but he'll go after America's enemies, and I like that.
Look, Donald Trump has said our victories and our success will be our retribution. It's not going to be a witch hunt. Lord knows we know all too well what an unfair, unjust, unequal witch hunt, two-tiered justice system looks like. And Donald John Trump has said our success will be our retribution.
Yeah.
I know,
You
but
should look it up, Brandon. If you haven't, since you haven't read, you should find that statement. It's just totally appalling, And he has audacity to say that his son was wrongly accused or
yeah,
convicted. The justice system has been weaponized.
weaponized against
Yeah,
his
I
son.
was like,
Yeah, it was.
seriously, dude.
I watched
Like,
that today, and I was like, made me angry. It made me so angry because
yeah,
it's
it
just a
just.
bald-faced lie.
Oh, so now you're saying the system is weaponized? Yeah, DOJ by the way, it's your DOJ. So, and he pled guilty. He pled guilty to all those charges, and he still says that it was unfair because his last name is Biden. You see.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's funny that now, right now, they say, oh, the border crossings are at historic lows, about the same level as when the last administration was in power. Oh, just now? So what that proves to me is you could have done this 3.5 years ago,
Yeah.
but you didn't.
Yeah.
So what,
it's just
what does that insinuate, right? You didn't. So that means.
Well, you guys, honestly, the evidence of how anti-American this administration truly is has been so blatant to me. I mean, even as a blind woman, it's been so obvious to me how anti-American the Biden administration has been, and how everything they've done. I mean, everything, every decision they've made, every law they've made, everything that they've done has been designed to hurt America. It blows my mind. It's obviously all done intentionally and by design.
Well, but keep in mind, it's not just the Biden's administration. It's basically Obama's administration. It's basically Obama's third term. Like it's been
Right.
said many times. Biden is not running anything. He is a puppet. Everybody can see it. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's just Democrats who were surprised after the debate that Joe was in his severe decline. But everybody else who has any kind of critical thinking skills and observation skills could see it from day one. So I think all this distraction was happening when Biden was in Obama's administration still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, as disabled people, I have to tell you, it's been heartbreaking watching Joe Biden, another disabled person, a mentally disabled person, being put through what he's been put through the last 4 years. He's not been capable of being president. Like the mental stress and anguish on that man, it's got to be pretty extreme. And I really feel like this is abuse,
Yeah.
elder abuse of what they've done to him, and it's abuse to our whole country,
Well, I agree. And the one thing that people will
Yeah.
say on the left is basically, I'm paraphrasing, but what did or what will Donald Trump do for you all as blind people? Okay, that's a question. However, let me just point out, Joe Biden hasn't invited the national presidents of either the National Federation of the Blind or the American Council of the Blind either. So as far as I'm concerned, Joe Biden hasn't done anything for me as a blind person either. So that's a moot point. I don't think that. I mean, that doesn't matter.
I'll tell you what President Trump did for us. He lowered prices. He made more opportunities for everybody. Like when President Trump was in office, like I left my husband during that time. I eventually opened my business during that time. I have several blind girlfriends who also opened businesses during that time. Granted, they had help through Voc Rehab, but they were doing it. You know what I mean? And since Biden's been in office, I haven't seen any of my blind friends able to do anything.
No, undoubtedly, the economy was a lot better under Trump. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
No matter how they try to, I mean, it's undeniable. The unemployment rate was the lowest. So people were keeping more money back. So. Okay, sounds like we're coming out of the second break.
Sounds like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Why don't they have blind people sections at sporting events? Why do I gotta pay the same price to not see shit? Okay? The Jumbotron ain't even built for me.
I am the business manager here at the Visually Impaired School of Arizona.
I see you brought the film crew. Make sure you get my good side.
All right, settle down and get focused on your tasks.
I teach the art of cuisine, child.
You wanna know the problem? The biggest problem in the blind community is you sighted people.
Just take your look over here.
Yeah, I don't know where that is, man.
Okay, you all need to turn off those cameras and just leave the building.
Wait, Joe, hold on.
Oh, on your right.
You're on the right.
How would you know that the men you're dating are black?
No, this is not card member services. This is the Visually Impaired School of Arizona.
CJ, where are his pants?
I don't know.
Billy doesn't work here. He basically came with the building.
I can be the very first mayor of Blind Sylvania.
Make blind America great again.
There goes my pie.
This happens every day.
No, of
Sometimes.
course not.
Okay, are we back?
Yeah, we are back. Brandon, are you back? You wanted to talk about computers, I remember you mentioning. Since today's Cyber Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's apropos. What would it be in Cyber Monday and all that, right? Although, you know, the organization that I want to let people know about, if you don't know about them, really, you know, you might not even actually need it to be Cyber Monday to benefit. And the organization that I want to just, you know, have a conversation with you ladies about is called Computers for the Blind. Now, I don't really like to make blindness a part of my identity. I talk about it on this show. I mean, what with the name and all. It's not that I mind talking about it, but I don't make it a part of my identity. So I don't really like the idea of what it used to be in the 1990s. Oh, you're blind and you need, you know, some kind of accommodation. Oh, well, there's a special section for you. You know, I don't really like that. However, Computers for the Blind is very, very helpful. I, in fact, own a computer. This is my now second or third computer. The others I sold or donated. So I only have one now. But you can get a computer that is quite good for $200 or less. And when I say quite good, I mean my computer, I don't even think was quite 200, and I upgraded it, and I, you know, and it's still clocked in at $200 or less. And I've got a 500 gigabyte solid state drive. I have Windows 10 Pro. I have 16 gigs of RAM, and I have an Intel Core i5 processor. Now, I will point out, in all fairness, my processor is kind of my bottleneck because, yes, it is an Intel Core i5 processor, but it's a 4th generation processor. So that's kind of my bottleneck. But still, for $200 or less, even Best Buy, you can't beat that on Amazon or eBay.
Let me ask you what. I'm sorry, Becca. I was just gonna ask, what makes it computer for the blind? Like, what?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if they put NVDA in them or JAWS or anything like that.
Well, so I do want to point you to their official website, which is just computers, plural, computersfortheblind.org. And so, but to answer your question, Becca, yes, they do give you, at least to the best of my knowledge, I haven't went there today or anything, right? So again, that's why I would point you, you know, do double check their official website. But yes, they do. They gave me 1 year of JAWS for free, after which point you have to decide, you know, what do you want to do? You know, there's different licensing schemes in place for JAWS for Windows, or you could install NVDA. I don't remember if they preloaded NVDA or not. Excuse me, but they do come with accessibility solutions pre-installed. I believe they also do come with Zoom text as well.
Yeah. That's awesome, Brandon. Thank you for sharing that news. That kind of segues into another topic I thought we could talk about, since it's the first Monday in December. Like, does anybody have, I mean, Computers for the Blind would be a good place for people to look for gift ideas for the blind people in their lives, but do we have ideas we can suggest for gift ideas for blind loved ones? Like what are some Alexa, stop. Like, what are some of the gifts you guys have received over the years that you found that people must put a lot of thought in because they wound up being really useful for you, and stuff? Like, I have a few ideas to offer, but do you guys have any to offer?
Well, I mean, depends on the person's level of skills and their abilities. Like, for example, a labeler could be a cool thing for somebody who reads Braille.
Oh yeah, and do you know of any specific kind of labelers? And can you maybe give our viewers some websites or something where they can go and look at some labelers?
I think NFB's Independence Market has those.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so and I don't own one, but I've seen it in some other people. And if you want to label some items, like not necessarily cans, but maybe spices or like what have you, anything, and it sticks pretty well. There's also called, what is it called? Something pen, smart pen.
Oh,
Pen friend, I think maybe.
Yes,
friend,
pen a
yeah.
friend. Yes, yes. Do you guys know what that is?
I've used it before. I used to have one. So do you have a pen friend?
I did not have one, but when I worked at one of the rehab centers, we had some in our classrooms, and we showed students who were just learning Braille and stuff. We taught them skills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I used to have one. Brandon, do you have a pen friend?
No, I don't. But I do think that both a Braille labeler in particular, not just a labeler, but a Braille labeler in particular, you want to make sure it will come with what's called dymo tape. That is very, very helpful. I've moved several times, and it's very nice being able to read the labels on the boxes just as well as my sighted family members. Because when I want to, when I need to find a coffee cup, I need to find the box of kitchen supplies. So whether you do that via a Braille label or something like a pen friend, I do think that labeling is very, very helpful.
Oh, I agree. Yes, for sure.
My wife got me an accessible drilling thermometer, and that's a skill that I am working on developing. I'm not at the level of proficiency that I want to be yet, but that is something that I'm working on. So that's something that I've appreciated.
I found blank flash drives and blank SD cards really valuable gifts over the years because, like, I like to transfer a lot of audiobooks and music and stuff from my computer to my Trek or to other devices, and I just really find those little devices where I can store a lot of information and transfer it around really handy.
yeah, you can also get well, it depends how close your friend is and how much money you want to spend on a friend. But there those Victor Reader devices by Humanware.
Oh, yeah, Victor
I
Reader
like
Stream
the
by
yeah, Victor Reader
Humanware.
Stream. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of people read books on their phones, and I'm not a fan. I use my phone as it is for YouTube, for Facebook, for other things. So if I want to read a book, I want
I
to read
just
it on a separate device. Yeah. But they're
yeah,
like
I'm with you.
$500, so
I'm with you. I listen to like 99% of my audiobook listening is on my Victor Reader Trek. I do have the Bard app on my iPhone, but I only use that if I'm out of town and like my Victor dies and I forgot the cord or something. And I mean, I love reading, so I always have to have a book to read. So then I go to my Bard mobile app on my iPhone in those situations and listen to it.
right. Well, I developed this habit when I was traveling a lot. And when I travel, I want to make sure my phone is fully charged. I know right now, like on an airplane you can charge, and in the airport you can charge, but I
Right.
still prefer to have my phone relatively well charged or 100% charged, however much I can manage. Yeah, that's why I always had a separate, separate
Yeah.
device to listen to music or books.
And another device that I've had for a few years I really love is I have up on behind me over here on my On my top of my dresser, I have a sound bar with my ALEXA built into it. And it sits up on top of my dresser and on top of this half wall back here. And so it has really good sound, and I listen to music through it, and I listen to the news, and I have Alexa answer information for me and give me reminders and stuff. And I really love it.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
But I really love my ALEXA, and because I mean my first one that I got had years ago was just a little, it was like a hockey puck. It was $50. And it was nice, but boy, when I got this big sound bar, it has much better sound output, and I love it. I
You know,
feel like
you might want to
listening to
be
music.
you might want to be careful over there, Becca, because I think you've been talking about the Biden family a little bit too much. So you said it's helpful, and then it said I'm not quite sure how to help you with that. That's Bidenitis.
Oh, I catch her chiming in and listening when I didn't tell her to chime in, when I didn't call on her. My phone too. My phone, I'll catch my phone clicking on and listening to me. It is creepy. I do think there's something to the people who say that the government's listening to us through these devices.
Oh, absolutely. We should have a whole topic sometime and talk about it, because like cybersecurity is just it's an issue. I mean, you guys probably notice, like, if you say something, just having a conversation with a friend or family member, and then next thing you start seeing ads on Facebook or YouTube. It's just whatever you
Oh yeah.
I watch Newsmax all the time, right? And I have it on my iPad a lot, and I have it turned up kind of loud because I'll be doing stuff around my bedroom. I have this big bedroom in here, right? I've got my bedroom itself, and I've got an attached walk-in closet, and I've got a big bathroom over there with a big shower and a big bathtub and a toilet and all kinds of stuff. And because of that, like I just need the sound to reverberate through the whole thing, and it really does with these sound bars.
Oh, that's
cool. Do you have a big beauty cabinet, Becca? My daughter would want to know.
I have big mirrors in there. I don't have a chair with a makeup desk or anything. I honestly don't wear makeup. I do skincare. I do skincare. I used to have makeup, but I never wore it. And honestly, I don't think I have any of my colors around anymore. I just do skincare.
I gotcha. I just had to ask on her behalf. She's getting curious about that, and her mom is always saying, "Stay out of my makeup." So.
Well, you tell your daughter that all she really needs is to take care of her skin. Because if she just takes good care of her skin as she grows up, like her skin will stay healthy and she won't show her age as bad. But if she puts a lot of makeup and stuff on it and does a lot of weird shit to it, her skin's going to be unhealthy and it's going to be angry and feel out of sorts and stuff. So
okay, I'll tell her.
Which is also a good gift. There are many different sets of skincare products and
like
makeup.
When I had really bad acne and really bad rosacea, and when I was a teenager, nobody helped me with it. I wasn't introduced to skincare until I was 20 years old, and it was a life changer for me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Brendan, do you have any ideas for Christmas gifts? Like Becca was asking earlier.
Honestly, I know people don't like it, but I'm pro gift card. I really am. So, give them an Amazon gift card or eBay gift card. Yeah, but it's beautiful. I love the freedom. I love the flexibility.
Yeah.
So.
I see that, but still, you don't put too much thought. Like
or a Dutch Brothers gift card or a Starbucks gift card.
I mean, I'm down with it. If somebody gave me one of those, I'd be like, thanks. I mean, but I see what you're saying though, Anya, right? It's not very personalized. There's not a lot of thought. Now, but that's the thing. Like, I think if if it's someone that you really, really know, like you're close with, right? Like, you know that, like, that's your boy, that's your girl, like, then you know them. But if you don't, like, if it's a work colleague or an acquaintance or something, I mean, what's wrong with a gift card? Even if you do know me well, I'd still take a gift card.
My gosh, listen, my sister, she loves
Yeah,
Andy's
that's
Frozen
true.
Custard. She would love a gift card for Andy's. Some people would love gift cards, you know what I mean? Because they like certain places.
Yeah, or even more, you can go even more generic, just get Visa card, for any type of place, store,
I'm
restaurant.
down. I'm down for it. So
Yeah, and I think that's a little less personal, just a Visa gift card. So
it
Yeah,
is, but again, that gives me, I don't have to shop at one particular place now.
So what do you guys think about canes for blind people as gifts?
well, that's a little bit even more personalized. I mean,
Right.
you need to know the person's preference, whether they like,
Right.
straight cane, NFB cane, not NFB cane, telescopic cane, folding cane. You need to know the height of the person,
Yeah.
how tall they prefer their cane to be. NFB recommends to have the cane between your chin and your nose, but some
But
people think
but
it's too tall. I mean, it's just you have to know
but
the
it,
person.
but but if it's someone close to you, sometimes a cane can be a good gift. Because canes, like I've bought extra canes before. Like the canes I use, the straight canes from the NFB, they're $25 a piece.
Yeah,
And
no,
so
I
they
didn't say it
can
was a
get really
bad gift. I'm just saying
expensive.
that you should know the person's preferences
Right.
really well.
But if it's
yeah.
like if it's not like a secret Santa gift or something like that, if it's your friend or your relative, you can go to them and say, by the way, how tall are you? And how would you feel about a new NFB cane for Christmas, you know? And like all I'm saying is as a blind person, I would appreciate new canes as gifts. I would not find them insulting. I would not I mean, I would appreciate the person calling me first to find out how tall I am to make sure that the cane is the right height and that it's the one I use because there's so many different canes, right? But
Yeah.
but for people who are sighted who are looking at blind people around them, maybe blind people who don't have access to canes, like I think about myself, like I was blind for 8 years before I got my first cane and I was allowed to use it and I was given cane training and stuff. And if someone had given me a cane before that and let me use it, encouraged me to use it, it would have changed my life. And so I'm thinking about those people who have not yet discovered cane travel, but who need it, like people who are new with their blindness. Maybe someone who's on the outside looking in could show them support by helping them find a cane that'll work for them, Because,
Yeah.
Well,
like,
and I think if they're going to do that, though, they should also, go the extra mile and try to get that person enrolled with a mobility instructor, an
oh,
orientation and mobility
yeah,
instructor,
yeah,
because
that
they're
doesn't
the
happen
best
now.
qualified on how to use a cane.
Yeah, but in most areas, that stuff is available. If not through the NFB directly, but there are other professionals. Like in Montana, where I was living, there were these places called, like each county seat had a visual services department that would come out to your home and help you mark your appliances and give you some cane training and stuff like that.
The
Um,
way that I describe my cane to people, sighted people, is my cane is essentially like your glasses. It keeps me from bumping into things. It keeps me from falling downstairs. Keeps me from falling upstairs. It keeps me from tripping over stuff. Just like their glasses do for them. And any time I leave my house and go any kind of distance at all, I will use my cane. So yes, I agree that a cane is a very indispensable tool. Just because you never know when there's going to be construction, or in the neighborhood where I live, there's a number of kids, and you never know what kids are going to leave out and forget about. So right, anytime I go out of my house, I usually have my cane with me. So, but I also do agree that you gotta kind of know how tall the person is and what kind of okay, and they like just be a good friend basically, and notice that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so the National Federation of the Blind's website, I just want to say this for our viewers, is nfb.org. And at that website, you can get information on how to get connected to the local affiliate for the NFB, the local affiliate for your state, and then as also your local chapter in your city or area, right? And once you get connected with blind people in your area, I can't tell you guys the amazing change it will make. And I'm not talking to you, Anya and Brandon, of course, but I'm talking to our viewers. Like if you're blind or you know somebody who's blind, but they haven't been connected with the National Federation of the Blind or another support group, I really strongly suggest that they get connected because it's a life changer. Like I said, I've been blind for 8 years and I thought I was doing pretty good. Like the sighted people in my life, they all said, "Oh, we can't even tell you're blind," right? But it wasn't until I joined the National Federation of the Blind in 2014 that I realized I was having a lot of problems in life, actually, and I was not performing up to the standards of the blind people, other blind people around me. I didn't know any other blind people until I joined the NFB, but when I did, I was amazed at what I was learning about the abilities of the blind. And it told me that what I'd always suspected was true, that I had was able to do anything, as a blind person, just like we all are. And that's something we learn when we join these groups, right? Like it's strength in numbers, but it's strength in the regard that you learn things, like you're educated, you get knowledge about truths that you didn't know before. That's what I found invaluable when I joined the NFB.
Yeah, and then they also have very well. Right now they have it up. They had some issues earlier. You could not order stuff online through Independence Market, but
Right.
it's a really good resource.
Oh yeah.
You can order not only canes there, but there's a bunch of kitchen tools.
And Braille supplies.
Braille supplies, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking thermometers, talking scales,
Oh
like
yeah.
a lot of items for various
Yeah.
skill level of a blind person, various needs.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
NFB.org, their website is amazing and their independence market is phenomenal too. Um, so Brandon, have you been to an NFB national convention?
Yes. Yes, I have. And I just want to say real quick that I agree that the skills training from an organization like the National Federation of the Blind or the American Council of the Blind, the skills training, regardless of the political leanings, okay, I want to separate those two very, very clearly, okay, but the skills training and being around other blind people, we are all unique, and we all do have sometimes varying perspectives and various ways of doing things, but it will, I agree, it will help you immensely to learn from other blind people. Do not, oh Lord, please do not let sighted people try to tell you, well, I think you should do it this way. They have no clue. They have no clue because they're not blind. I wouldn't try to tell a deaf person, well, I don't understand why you can't hear me. I think you should just go get a hearing aid, right? I mean, how hard can it be? And I try to get, a profoundly deaf person a miracle ear hearing aid. Okay, that's not going to work for them. I would know my wife is hard of hearing. So it's, when you're around other blind people, you will just kind of organically absorb a lot.
Yeah. Well, when I joined the NFB, I started hearing things like Victor Reader Trek, and I was like, "What the heck is that? Is that some kind of nuclear weapon?" And so I was hearing things like that, terms I'd never heard before, and I was like, "I got to learn about some of these things." and and so that's what it really did for me. Like, it empowered me, and I started learning that there's different cane techniques. And honestly, that's when I first learned about these training centers too. I didn't even know about these training centers till I joined the NFB. And let me tell you, I found the NFB completely by accident. I was a member of the Montana Association of the Blind, and I was actually on the phone with this lady who was complaining about some other blind group that had moved into Montana, and that some blind people were leaving the MAB and going to this other group, and she was just beside herself. She was upset about it. And I thought, wow, I better check out this other group because I want to meet more blind people. And so I asked her how I could find out about this other blind group, and she said, well, call Ted Robbins. And because she had heard Ted Robbins was involved with it. So I called Ted Robbins, and Ted is dead now, but Ted is the one that told me about the NFB all those years ago. And when he told me about the NFB, it got me excited because he told me the slogan about how blind people can do anything. And I thought, that's right. And I've always tried to prove that, but these people are saying it. And so that's why I joined the NFB. And I never looked back after I joined the NFB because what they said was right. And blind people can do anything, and I've always believed that, and I've just been able to prove it since I joined the NFB.
Yeah, I mean, I joined the NFB because they kind of codified, if you will. They put into words things that I had already fundamentally believed about myself. I didn't know sort of how to articulate it. So I do resonate very well with a considerably large majority of the philosophies of the National Federation of the Blind. That's why I joined. I didn't grow up with it. In fact, I grew up hearing a lot of negative things about it, which I have since learned are just simply patently false. They're just simply untrue. Case in point being, people say that the National Federation of the Blind does not support the use of dog guides. That's just false. It's just incorrect. That is a incorrect statement. But I just joined because again they kind of helped codify that for me and put it, they gave a sort of language and a sort of terminology, kind of helped me to articulate it. But again, I like the skills that they teach, completely separate and distinct from their political ideological leanings.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And honestly, it sounds like this is turning into a pro NFB rally. And I didn't want it to turn into that. Honestly, I have some real issues with the NFB because of some stuff that's gone on the last few years. But I really do like the philosophy.
Oh, right. But that's why I pointed out, you see issues elsewhere too, though, in education, in the military. So they're not unique in what they've been dealing with.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, I think it's been a pretty interesting discussion. As always, we covered an array of topics.
Yeah,
no, I'm good. Just reminder, computersfortheblind.org, pretty helpful place. Because again, that does, and I don't mean to go back into it, but that there is this philosophy of, oh, I have my phone, I'm good. Well, you're not always though. You can't. It's very, very difficult and time consuming to create, for example, a professional cover letter or a professional resume using your phone. I mean, can it be done? Yes, but it's going to be very, very lugubrious. I don't care if you're blind or sighted. Can you imagine trying to create a professional resume using Google Docs on your phone? Sometimes you just need a computer.
Right. Yeah. And at these NFB training centers, you can learn really good computer skills. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
awesome.
Thank you, Brandon and Anya, for joining me this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening. And be sure that you are subscribed to us here on Rumble and whatever platform you're watching us on. And please go up to Amazon and search out my books. You go up there and search Rebecca Meadows author, and it'll pull my books up. Oh, and another thing I wanted to share with our viewers real quick. Next month, our new show, Don't Look Now, is going to be featured in a film festival right here in Chandler. So stay tuned, and we'll give you guys more information.
It's actually
Anyway,
in January, Beck.
or it's in January. Well, that's
Yeah, she said next month.
You know, we're in December, so that's next month in January, like I said.
Oh God, I thought we were in November.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Gino, do you want to give the dates of the film festival while you're joining us then? What's the date of the film festival next month that in Chandler?
One quick second. Let me pull that up.
Yeah. And can you give the name of the film festival too?
That's kind of neat because I was reading an article just yesterday actually about some festivals and things that are going on in Phoenix during the holiday season, the Christmas season, and so there is going to be another festival in January 2025. Boy, it's going to be an exciting January 2025, huh?
Yeah, it's the final week in January 24th. We do not know when we're screening yet.
What is the name of the film festival though, Gino?
It is the Chandler International Film Festival.
Yeah, and they probably have a website that our viewers can go to get more information if you want to check out. And it's our show Don't Look Now is going to be screened there. So
awesome.
Cool. Well,
Wow, fantastic.
Yep, this has been a great show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye, guys.
All right, thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.